It is the most important time of the year for the Indian automobile industry. Like every year, we are going to be awarding the year's best. Welcome to a special episode of the Car and Bike Show here. I am Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. Behind me are all the nominees for the 2016 NDTV Car and Bike Awards. Well, the cars anyway, because that's what we're going to do here today. We're back at the Buddh International Circuit, as always, with a fantastic jury to take you through all the various categories and drive all of these cars, because today it is the jury meet for the cars. Let's get the action started here on the track.
For over 10 years, the NDTV Car and Bike Awards have stood out as credible, fair and trend-setting. This year, the story will be no different, except there are even more nominees to go through. We are at the Buddh Circuit with the cars only and the four-wheeler jury too. But before we focus on the cars alone, a look at our jurors for both 2 and 4 wheels.
This is the Constitution.
Practical, looks nice.
That should be fun.
Yeah. Morning. How are you doing, man?
Heading our jury, as always, is a stalwart with decades of experience, former executive director at Tata Motors and vice chairman at Ashok Leyland, Dr. V. Sumantran. Back on the jury after a 5-year gap is an erstwhile regular, the very experienced and astute editor of Car India, Asti Bhatena. Back with us is India's youngest Formula 1 driver and now also a Le Mans veteran. That is racing ace Karun Chandhok. Now a regular whom we simply cannot do without either is the other racer on board, Aditya Patel. Joining the fast drivers is another erstwhile juror returning to us after a few years, racer and now racing mentor Raymond Banerjee. Another new face on the jury is Sirish Chandran, an active rallyist. Sirish is the editor of Evo magazine. Back for the second year on the jury is Pablo Chatterjee, managing editor of Man's World. And back for the third year straight is Dhruv Behel, founder and editor of AutoX. Also with us for many years is internationally acclaimed automobile designer Dilip Chhabria. Kamlesh Patel is an avid auto enthusiast and former rallyist and a regular name now for some time on the CNB jury. And from the CNB team, our very own Bala joins in the fun this year. And Siddharth, who like every year drives the entire process and ensures everyone is sticking to the rules. So let's get to all the cars this year. A foggy start at the Buddh International Circuit in Greater Noida delayed proceedings a bit, even as the jurors made themselves familiar with the racetrack.
The track is finally open. Let's do a fog check.
An impressive lineup of 44 nominees was all set, with the nominees ready to give it their best shot and impress the jurors. Some of the jurors began by taking some of the smaller mass models outside the track to experience them in more real-world conditions and not just on a track. One of the favorites this year, the Hyundai Creta, has a lot going for it. The compact SUV, packed with features and a good set of engines, including a diesel automatic, is quite the winner for Hyundai. Maruti Suzuki looks to steal some of that Creta thunder by launching the S-Cross. This premium crossover, offered in 2 diesel options, impresses, but the weakness remained in its premium pricing. The other big guns this year? the Ford Figo and Ford Aspire, Renault Kwid, Honda Jazz, Maruti Suzuki Baleno and Mahindra TUV 300. The battle for the premium hatches got hotter this year as Honda looked to jazz it up, quite literally. The much-awaited new generation Jazz packed lots of spaces with added premium features and an attractive design. But Maruti Suzuki had an ace up its sleeve with the return of the Baleno brand in a hatch avatar. This car looked to stamp Maruti's dominance in this segment it has long been missing from. The car brought in a fresh and modern design, some peppy engines, and like the Jazz also included a petrol CVT automatic in its kitty. On the premium side, it's the Volvo XC90, Mercedes-AMG GTS, BMW i8 and the Audi TT amongst so many others. It's time once again for the country's top auto quiz, the Mahindra AQ 2016. And you can win some AQ goodies too. Just answer this question. What sports car was driven by Dave Bautista's character in the recent film Spectre? Tweet your answer to Siddharth at Sid Patankar using the hashtag WalkYourTalk hashtag.
I said as much fun as I've had tracking you on each and every camera that I have at my disposal here in the control room. Yeah, well, you guys do that. I'm going to join you.
Welcome back to the Jury Meet special for the annual NDTV Car and Bike Awards. We're at the Buddh International Circuit and jury duty is on in full swing.
Alright, I see you boys are having a lot of fun on the track.
You brought us so many nice cars to drive that, we're just doing our job here. This is jury duty, folks.
To get a sense of what the jurors were up to, Siddharth positioned himself at the race control room to really keep an eye on them.
Yeah, I got to join them.
The Sports Car of the Year category at this year's awards boasted some of the hottest cars. But these were the two cars that stood out from the rest. The very hot and very powerful AMG GTS, which carries the legacy of the SLS AMG, and the car of the future, the very dynamic and sexy BMW i8 hybrid sports car.
I think the one for me that was the biggest surprise was the Creta. I hadn't driven it now till today. Yeah, very nice chassis balance. The engine, obviously the diesel was very good, but the chassis balance was very nice. Obviously a big variety of cars, and each category has its own cars which have strengths and weaknesses. But there's a really good panel of us here, lots of discussion, lots of ideas being thrown around, so Yeah, not an easy decision.
The mighty SUVs also slugged it out for top honours. The Volvo XC90 has already wowed the world with its modern design and feature-rich cabin. The jurors took quite a liking to this SUV as it impressed with its performance as well. But speaking of full-fledged performance, the BMW X5 and X6 in their new M avatars had to take on the powerful Range Rover Sport SVR. Totally mad stuff this. With a mighty V8 under the hood churning out 543 horses and that angry exhaust note, this Range Rover Sport is quite ferocious.
Well, it's been a fabulous day. There's just so much variety, right from the hatchbacks to the SUVs to the performance cars, and every year you get more and more of these performance cars. Of course, for the Indian market, they don't have that much relevance because the volumes are very little. But then here at the racetrack at India's Formula 1 Grand Prix venue, it's a fabulous place to be pushing these cars to the limit, and it's absolute fun. This is why we do what we do.
Firstly, it's a gathering of like-minded people, so it's great fun being with the other jurors, all of whom are experienced journalists and who are experts in their own field, and their friends as well. So it's nice to catch up with friends after a long time. And of course, it's more focused here. I mean, because you're doing a specific job, you're evaluating a car for a very prestigious award. It's not just a drive in the park. You're having fun, but you're also keeping factors in mind, such as how is this car doing, how does it do compared to others in its field. So it's different in that sense.
It's a very good mix. It's a very balanced jury. So everything comes across: performance, handling, interior quality, just the transient shifts in attitude of a car, the engine refinement, everything comes across, and that makes it a very balanced opinion.
Well, there's a lot of these people on the panel that I know for many years now, so it's nice, we got a good rapport and we're able to sort of talk to each other and ask each other questions, because nobody knows everything. There's always something we can all learn from each other, and there's a lot of very good qualified people on this panel.
We are not here just to judge the car based on racetrack ability. All of us in our daily line of work, we drive all these cars. There's a Quid at the basement of our office. We drive it every day. There's a TUV, there's the Creta, there's everything. We drive it every day, so we know these cars. So here it is just that final nuances that you want to bring about, and that's where driving these cars hard and fast, that's where you bring out the final capabilities of the chassis, of the engine, of the gearbox, of the brakes, so you can make out the safety angle of these cars. So here it is not about lap times. So don't get us wrong. We're not here at a racetrack just to set lap times. We're here to figure out the final nuances and details of the car, and that's why it's important being here. You can't push these cars to the limit on the road.
But in all of this, we didn't forget the humbler cars either, nor the homegrown ones. The winter sun went down early, and it was time for the jury action to shift indoors and round up scores for the nominees. Jurors engaged in hectic discussions and deliberations before voting in each category.
You rate each one on a scale of 1 to 10 across 7 parameters.
Okay.
So it's attribute-wise scoring, and then you have the grand total for each of those nominees.
Actually, the Audi was the fastest, but I won't say it.
Do I go to the grandstand straight or do I not? Do I go or do I not?
No, but for us, we've kept the performance cars as a separate entry.
In the interest of transparency, we have no editorially decided awards for any segment or category, and so the jury weighs in on all the awards that are up for grabs. The voting takes into account not just an overall impression of each product, but also how it fares on 7 parameters: safety, value for money, environment, performance and handling, emotional appeal, relevance to its own segment, and finally any merits or USP. That way, it's a comprehensive and well thought out decision for each and every juror on each and every product or category. There is a secret ballot after the discussion to decide the winners, and all of this has been monitored and tabulated by our knowledge partner Ernst & Young. So as always, may the best and most deserving products win.
So it's curtains on the car jury meet. We've got lots of fun that we've seen through the day. It's been a bit tiring, but I don't think any of us is complaining. We've had a great time with all of these nominees behind us. And some of these gents will be joining me next week for the bike jury meet, the two-wheelers. There's plenty of nominees there as well, and a lot of performance bikes too. So we should have a fair amount of fun here at the track. That's something you need to tune into the show and see for yourself next week. In the meanwhile, remember that I always implore you, please wear your helmets if you're on a two-wheeler. Wear a seat belt, front or back, in a car. And with that request, it's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. All of this, remember, is for NDTV's annual Car and Bike Awards. Bye-bye. Thank you, folks.
Mercedes-Benz presents The Great Overland Adventure every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. on NDTV Prime.